Masking is a big part of design. In general terms, masking is a method for selectively hiding or showing parts of an image, layer, or effect. Masks allow you to do everything from compositing to cutouts, or even selectively applying filters or effects to parts of an image. We'll be talking about three main types of masks: clipping masks, layer masks, and vector masks. Our first type of mask is a clipping mask, which uses the contents or pixel opacity of one layer to determine the visibility of another layer. Remember back in grade school when you would paint with glue, throw a bunch of glitter on it, and the glitter would only stick where there was glue? It's kind of like that. Clipping masks require at least 2 layers, but you can use any type of layer, raster, vector, or even type layers, to create the mask. It basically lets you glue one layer to another, and your layer just inherits the opacity of whatever you stick it to. It's also a great way to make an adjustment layer apply to a single layer instead of everything below it. Clipping masks are only available in Photoshop. Making a clipping mask is pretty straightforward. Since my background covers the entire area and all of the pixels are solid, clipping something to this wouldn't really do anything, kind of like an all-white layer mask. So let's add some artwork. We'll call this our glue. Now let's grab some glitter. You can use whatever you want, but I've kind of got a theme going here, right? Position that over your artwork, and then there are 3 ways to clip it or glue it down. Go to Layer, Create Clipping Mask, press Ctrl-Alt-G on the keyboard or Command-Option-G on a Mac, or hold Alt or Option and click in between the layers in your Layers palette. Your cursor will change to let you know you're in the right spot. Just like that, glitter sticks to glue, top sticks to bottom. You can freely move or alter either layer without any issues. Just keep in mind that these layers are not connected, so if you want them to move and transform together, make sure you link the layers once you've got everything where you want it. So when and why would I use a clipping mask instead of a normal layer mask? Let's say I have a circle, and I want to apply a bit of shading to it. Now there's no easy way to follow my original line perfectly, so I Control or Command click the circle layer thumbnail to load it as a selection, and then click to turn that into a layer mask for my shading. There are 2 inherent problems with this though. First, when we place 2 anti-aliased edges on top of one another, there will always be a little fringe of the underlying color at the edge. You'll never get the shading all the way to the edge, even though you're using an exact copy of the shape below. Second, stacking shapes or layers that share an anti-aliased edge affects the quality of the edge. Watch the edges as I create duplicates of this layer. See what's happening? Those edges are made of partially opaque or translucent pixels. If you stack 2 things that are both halfway see-through, the result isn't halfway see-through anymore. It's not solid, but it's much more opaque than before. The practical result of this is that your edges will look sharper and eventually, if not immediately, start looking jagged. Making a clipping mask is not only quicker and easier, but clipping one layer to another will always cover your edges completely and perfectly. Clipping masks are great for applying image to type. With an image clipped to an editable type layer, you can easily change fonts or even the text itself at any point. You're not limited to a single image either. Clip as many images to your base layer as you want. You can change the opacity and blending modes for each clipped layer individually, and even add layer masks to each clipped layer for even more control. There is one major bit of weirdness with clipping masks though, and it concerns layer styles. When you're clipping layers to your base layer, normal stacking order applies. However, even though the layer style is being applied to the base layer or the bottom layer, it will act as though all of the clipped layers are part of the base layer. In other words, layer styles will apply on top of all of your clipped layers, even though they're being applied at the bottom of that stack. Last example. Here's a simple layout that's looking a little flat. It might help to have the giraffe cast a bit of shadow on the sign, but just adding a drop shadow to the giraffe looks stupid. You can't cast a shadow on the sky after all. In fact, drop shadows are designed to emulate a flat object floating above another flat object, with all points being equal distance apart. Clipping masks are a great solution here, but we can't just clip the giraffe to the sign because we lose most of our giraffe. Duplicate your giraffe layer, and if you still have your drop shadow applied, remove that layer style from the top copy. Now, clip just the bottom copy with the drop shadow to the sign. This looks great, but we can make it look even better with one small tweak. Remember how we talked about stacking duplicates affecting edge quality? You can't see it as much in this particular example, but it's happening here with the 2 copies of our giraffe. Luckily, there's an easy fix. In your Layers palette, you have 2 settings that affect opacity. The opacity setting lowers the opacity of the entire layer, including all layer styles. The fill opacity only affects the contents of the layer, not the styles applied to it. It still honors the shape of the layer to create the effect, but the actual contents aside from the layer styles are now invisible. There is one little setting that was enabled by default in older versions of Photoshop that's better left turned off for this trick, and that is Layer Knocks Out Drop Shadow. With it turned on, you can end up with a little fringe between your subject and the shadow. It's finally turned off by default, but if you're running an older version, just make sure to turn it off and you're good to go. What's even better is that if we link those 2 layers, any moves or transformations affect both the giraffe and his shadow. And since it's 2 copies of the same smart object, any changes made to the giraffe will also be reflected in his shadow. I also mentioned adjustment layers before. If you wanted to make an adjustment to the sign, but didn't want it to affect the sky below, and you either couldn't or didn't want to use a smart filter on a smart object layer, just clip your adjustment layer to the sign and it won't adjust anything beyond that layer.